What's up, a Cinema Shogun here, and earlier this morning, the main trailer for Lord of the Rings and the Rings of Power released. And I'm not gonna lie, everyone, this looks like an amazingly polished turd. You know, from far away, it kind of looks kind of shiny. And you're like, what is that? Then as you inch ever closer, you start getting the whiffs of just shit. And by the time you pick it up, you realize it's not shiny at all. In fact, it's just a big, heaping, steaming pile of crap. That's what this show reminds me of. You know, there's certain points in this trailer that look kind of flashy, and you know, as someone who's a fan of fantasy, you might be like, ooh, shiny castle. But then when you look closer at the storyline, or what appears to be an attempt at making a storyline, you realize that something stinks. This just all looks like complete crap. There was, however, one line from this trailer that really resonated with me.
The past is with us all. The past is dead. We either move forward or we die with it.
Ladies and gentlemen, if you ever hear something like that in a trailer for a franchise that you love and hold dear to your heart, go ahead and kiss that franchise goodbye. I've seen it happen time and time again. I watched it happen to my beloved Star Wars. Once they start talking about the past is dead, you have to move on. They're not talking about the storyline within the show. No. That is a message to the fans, trying to tell the fans of these franchises who have supported these franchises for years that, hey, the old world is dead. All of your characters will be gender and race swapped, and this show will no longer be about the stories you know and love. This show will now be nothing but a vessel to get across our political and social messages. We will no longer worry about making a good show. We will only worry about preaching more diversity. I'm telling you all right now, I was naive enough to believe that the Lord of the Rings franchise was just too sacred. That, you know, no one's ever going to touch that. As I watched Marvel crumble to the ground, as I watched Star Wars be gutted and turned inside out, for some reason, I was dumb enough to believe that, you know what? It's not going to happen to Lord of the Rings. Surely it will stop here. Boy, was I wrong. They couldn't wait to go on to the next franchise to destroy. You realize that once Marvel started going downhill in the MCU, once Star Wars started going downhill with Solo and Rise of Skywalker, they knew, oh, well, I guess we've ruined these enough now. Maybe we should move on. And it's weird because Lord of the Rings has always been this niche little group. Like, I've been a part of Fandom and, you know, being a nerd for years. You understand what I'm saying? Like, I've been in the trenches of every fandom, because I like a little bit of everything. But whereas the Marvel fandom and DC and Star Wars, they always seem to be kind of open. You understand what I'm saying here? Like, anyone would kind of mingle around and you would see new faces, old faces, what have you. Whereas Lord of the Rings, they've always been tight-knit. Now, as far as I go, I am not like a huge Tolkien fan. Like, I'm not a huge Lord of the Rings nut. But I like Lord of the Rings. I think the Lord of the Rings trilogy, the original trilogy, Peter Jackson, was probably some of, if not the best movies of all time. Those were the last great films that were actually filmed on location in certain areas, that had hundreds, if not thousands, of like extras and cast members. It was truly something special and beautiful that we will never see again. Thanks to CGI and all of these green screen rooms and whatever that new little thing is that they filmed the Mandalorian on, we will never see something as epic as the original Lord of the Rings trilogy again. But I understand being a fan and seeing things that kind of remind you of it and getting excited, because I'm a Marvel fan, a huge Marvel and Star Wars fan. And when these new shows get announced, I still feel myself getting kind of excited, even though I know they're going to be crap. Like, I get excited to see Moon Knight's suit, even though I know the show is going to be terrible. And I imagine that's how a lot of Lord of the Rings fans feel right now. You know, you see a couple of elves and you're like, oh man, I just haven't seen elves in a long time. And then you get these senses of like, oh, this is kind of Lord of the Rings-esque. But in reality, it's just a generic piece of garbage. They're trying to trick you here. I can tell you all right now, this is going to be garbage. They're going to completely destroy Lord of the Rings from the inside out. They're going to do whatever they can to just nuke this damn franchise and to nuke this fandom. And you know it, because they're already doing the usual things. You know, when these SJWs and these weirdos started taking over Marvel, the first thing they did was start attacking fans and trying to, you know, turn the fan base against each other. You know, there used to be able to be open dialogue. Hey, you know, I don't like this Marvel movie. Okay, well, I do like this Marvel movie. And you would talk about why you liked and why you didn't like the movie. But nowadays, it's like, hey, I don't like this movie. And then the other half of the fan base is like, oh, you're a bad person. You're a bigot. You hate women. You hate diversity. You hate all of this. And it's like, what the hell? And it's already happening with the Lord of the Rings. If you're not okay with them just totally destroying the mythology, then you're a bad person. They will label you a bad person. They are already actively, before the show even comes out, trying to weed out the real fans of this franchise. And they're replacing them with all of these SJWs who did not care about Lord of the Rings 2 months ago. I've seen it happen time and time again. As a part of these fandoms, like, you start noticing familiar faces. And I mean not just in person, but online. You start noticing certain names, and you have an overall awareness of the type of people who are in your fandom, who are talking about these things on a regular basis. Maybe they're making videos on YouTube. Maybe they have an Instagram page dedicated to it. Maybe they go on rants on Twitter, what have you. But always, when they move on to a new franchise and they're getting ready to destroy it, you see this wave of new fans that aren't really fans at all. And they always look the same. They got the pronouns in the bio. They got an anime picture or a cartoon picture as their main picture. And they all of a sudden act like they're so interested in the franchise. And now, this like small, I don't want to say Tolkien and like Lord of the Rings fans, that it's a small group, but it's definitely not the size of Lord of the Rings and Marvel, if you ask me. And like I said, it's more like private and like to themselves. And I know for a fact, out of all of these years being deeply entrenched in nerddom and fandom, that all of these people who are all of a sudden here claiming they love Lord of the Rings, they're fake. They're fake. And now what will happen? All of these people will sit online all day. They'll create their fan pages. They won't buy a single product. They probably won't even sign up for Amazon Prime. Hell, they might not even watch the show. But they'll sit on Twitter all day and Instagram and share pictures of homoerotic fantasies that they've created in their minds between these characters. They'll go online and be like, oh my God, this is the greatest thing I've ever seen, and it's so diverse and what have you. But then you'll look at the ratings and realize no one's watching this. You'll look at the ticket sales, realize no one's going to the movies to see this. You'll go to the store and realize there's no toys on the shelf. No one really cares about this. It's like they're destroying these franchises for no good reason, just to destroy our morale as a whole. And it happens over and over again. And like I said, once you see them say something in a trailer about, oh, this is the old age has to die, you got to move on. Like, nope, nope, I think I won't. But I think some of these companies are getting smart and they realize, hey, there's money to be made in rage clicks. How many people are going to tune into the Rings of Power just to hate on it? I know I probably will. Now, I probably won't watch it on Amazon Prime. I'll go about a different way of watching this show, but I'll watch it just to crap on it and laugh at it, because that's all this will be. Another laughing stock. But honestly, I don't know how funny it will be to me. Because is there anything sacred anymore? Like, honestly, ask yourselves that. There were just a few things that, for some reason, I thought, like, were kind of safe. I don't know why I thought that, but I did. I just thought maybe Lord of the Rings is safe. We already got those 3 movies. I've read the books. You know, maybe this won't be touched. But no, of course not. So this is just a warning for fans out there of anything. You're next. Start speaking up. Start speaking with your money. If you're not a Lord of the Rings fan and you've never been a Lord of the Rings fan, but you're a dedicated fan of something else, don't support this garbage. When you know that they're coming through to just purposely destroy these fandoms, to purposely just crap on people who have been dedicated to these franchises for years, don't support it. I understand, like, there's things out there that are getting destroyed. And I might not care as much, but I still don't support it because I know. Like, hey, I know that pain. You know what I mean? Like, trust me, I know that pain. I'm a Marvel fan. I'm still somewhat of a Marvel fan. I was a Star Wars fan. But now, like, I'm kind of indifferent to Star Wars. And I don't want there to be a day where I no longer care about Lord of the Rings. Because those movies meant something to me and the books meant something to me. They came out, you know, at a really pivotal time in my life when I was a young man. And they helped me through some hard times. And to see this thing destroyed, it's gonna piss me off. Like, it pisses me off every time they destroy another franchise. But one thing I will say is that I feel something different in the air when it comes to this Lord of the Rings stuff. As I've mentioned earlier in the video multiple times by now, I'm sure, the Lord of the Rings fan base, they're like this tight-knit group. And in ways, it just feels like maybe the buck stops here. You know what I mean? Like, I see the response from these fans, and for the most part, they're not having it. Whereas Marvel and Star Wars, it seems like these weirdos came in and just ruined these franchises and ruined these comic books and ruined everything without much pushback. And it's like you would try to fight back and then you would just get slayed down by 700 new fans who really didn't give a shit. But when it comes to Lord of the Rings, I see these people standing up and there's just a different feeling in the air behind this one. I can't exactly pinpoint what it is, but it's there. And if you're someone who's aware of all this culture war stuff, then you know it as well. You probably get that feeling as well. So I will lend my sword to this battle. As someone who is not the most diehard Lord of the Rings fan, I am willing to lend my sword to this battle because I do love Lord of the Rings. And I understand being really passionate about something and someone who just doesn't care about it coming in and just absolutely destroying it. So I'm here. I'm going to continue to cover this. I will laugh at this show when it comes out. I will call out these SJW weirdos every single time they do something stupid and just absolutely demonic like this. Once you come for Lord of the Rings, now it's demonic in my eyes. I don't care what anyone says, man. But let me know your thoughts about all of this down in the comments below. While you're down there, hit that thumbs up button, hit that subscribe button, ring that notification bell, and I'll talk to you all on the next video.